Hi, my name is Amanda Glover, and I wanted to start off by saying what an honor and privilege it is to be able to share my story with you, as well as what leadership means to me. I was approached to do this video at a Girls in Aviation Day event. I am an airline pilot, and I was called by one of my fellow female airline pilots, and she said, going to this event, it's for young girls that are interested in aviation, and I think it would be great if you would be able to come and put on your uniform and really show these girls that they can be anything that they want. Stereotypes don't matter. It's hard work and determination, and if you can show them that they can be anything that they want to be, I think it would be a fantastic opportunity. So I did, and that's where I met one of your members who told me about your program. And I'm so flattered to be able to share my story with you. I'm originally from Missoula, Montana. I was raised by two hardworking parents there, and they really taught me that hard work and determination, as well as kindness and humility, go a long way. And that being said, I received my first job when I was a freshman in high school. It was every night I had to walk down the street and put the neighbor lady to bed every night. She was too stubborn or too resistant to go into a rest home, and her children wanted to make sure that she was in bed every night. So I walked down there and made sure the lights were off, the doors were locked, and there was a cup of water by her bed. Well, when I would go to her house, I would see all these pictures of airplanes around her house and see pictures of her in a pilot uniform, and starting to talk to her about her career and her experience. She was a pioneer. I mean, this woman was a legend. She broke so many stereotypes. I am so privileged to have known this woman and been able to talk to her about her experiences. She was one of 33 licensed female pilots in the 1940s. She was the first female to complete the instructor certification program at Johnson Bell Flying Service. She helped train thousands of World War II pilots, which was funny enough because they wouldn't fly with a Martha. So they would see a Martha on the schedule, and so she would change her name to Mike. So Mike would be on the schedule, they'd show up for their flying lesson, and there she was. After getting to know her story, and really just kind of putting it in the back of my mind, wow, what this woman had to overcome to be able to get to where she is and break those stereotypes. I graduated from high school not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and I wound up getting a scholarship for the International Air Academy in Vancouver, Washington. So I went there and learned airline operations, airport codes, ticketing, essentially how to airline interview. It was 2 years after September 11th, and the airlines, needless to say, were not hiring, and the job market was very competitive. So I went to this school, and that gave me the edge to be able to get hired with the airlines. I was offered a position as a ramp agent from 2004, and I worked as a ramp agent all the way up until 2009. When I first started out on the ramp, I was in charge of throwing bags, loading the aircraft, waving the airplanes in, and even on cold, snowy winter days, spraying off and de-icing the aircraft. And then I eventually started doing ticketing and counter, and I would see all these pilots fly out, and especially all these female pilots, and I thought to myself, I can totally do that. I want to take a flying lesson. Expressing this to my boss at the time, he was good friends with the owner of the flight school in Missoula, so we set myself up for my first flying lesson. After my first flying lesson, I was hooked. I wound up moving back in with my parents and working 2 jobs to be able to pay for flight training. I received my pilot's license spring of 2007 and immediately began working on my instrument rating. After I finished my instrument rating, I was told that my position on the ramp was no longer available because they were bringing in a third party to do the ground handling service. So I applied for a job as a flight attendant. You know, seeing all these flight attendants and pilots flying out, and I thought, you know, I want to be an airline pilot, and if I'm a flight attendant, I will get used to the lifestyle. You know, it'll help me with getting my foot in the door as far as the pilot side goes, and it's a great company. I would love to stay with them. So I applied and I was hired as a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant for about a year when I received my commercial pilot's license. So early 2011, I got my commercial pilot's license, and then having 250 hours of flight time experience under my belt, nobody wanted to hire a commercial pilot with 250 hours of flight time. So my next logical step was to get a CFI. The problem was I'd paid for my private pilot's license, I've paid for my instrument rating, I just paid for my commercial pilot's license, and I was broke. So one day I was serving as a flight attendant, and I had a female pilot on my plane, and I was expressing to her that I had a commercial pilot's license. I really wanted to get my CFI. I was just flat out of money and I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. So she told me that she was a member of a female aviation group, International Society of Women Airline Pilots, and she said that her organization offers scholarships and I would be a great candidate for their scholarship program. Giving me her card, we emailed back and forth, and as soon as those scholarships were posted online, I started applying for them, and I wound up receiving one of their scholarships. For a group of women who have already accomplished what I was working toward to reach down and help me out, my scholarship was $3,500. That to me was amazing. I was so grateful. Without that money, it would have taken me a lot longer to be able to obtain my goal as a certified flight instructor. So, you know, just part of leadership to me is find the type of person that you want to be, whether it's in your field or in life, and surround yourself with that person or that group of people. I really wanted to be a pilot. As a flight attendant, I was able to surround myself with pilots. And every day they were encouraging me, hey, how are your ratings going? How are your hours going? How are your flying lessons going? And like for me, that really lit a fire under my tail. Oh, I better get this done. These people believe in me. These people count on me. So, got my CFI and I started giving flying lessons. So I was flight attending full-time as well as teaching flying lessons full-time. And it got a little tiring. It was a lot of work. So I was able to obtain a leave of absence from my flight attendant job and go fly the Grand Canyon. So I did Grand Canyon tours for a season and finished the rest of my hours. I was working 6 days a week, 12, 13 hours a day, picking up extra shifts, working for my friends, coming in on my days off when they needed the extra help, just to be able to obtain those hours. It was a lot of work, but October of last year, I was able to send my application in for the airlines, and they called me right away. I interviewed as a pilot for them. I was hired 2 days later. and I started ground school January of 2018 for the airlines. I finished ground school and IOE, my initial operating experience, in April, and I've been an airline pilot ever since. In October of this year, I actually interviewed and was hired for the training department with my airline, which is huge because not only will it help me grow as a pilot, but I get to help inform and shape and mold and teach new pilots coming through, which is huge. The fact that I can be an ambassador for my company and that I can, teach them our operation and teach them the jet, like, it's such a great opportunity, and I love teaching. Dolly Parton said, "If your actions create a legacy that inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader." Since I have been an airline pilot, I have received numerous calls from other flight attendants and ground service agents that want to get their ratings and become a pilot as well. And it's become a passion of mine to be able to help these people, to give them the advice that people gave to me, to tell them what my experience was, and not only that, but just to be an ear to listen, a shoulder to cry on, or just to be able to give that amount of encouragement is huge. And I love what I do, and I love being able to do it, and I didn't realize that I was a role model or that I was an influence or that I was a leader. All I knew is that I was passionate about what I did and what I wanted to do, and I worked really hard to get there. Maya Angelou said, "Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it." And to be able to overcome all the criticism and all the judgment and all the stereotypes that I've overcome, and from family members saying, "You're nothing but a dumb blonde, how are you going to finish?" Or, "Girls can't fly planes." Well, not true. I've worked very hard to get to where I come, and not letting those obstacles and not letting those hurdles get in your way. And I think the biggest part to success is failure. And when you fail, how you react to that failure. And I remember stumbling over and over and over trying to get to where I am, and picking yourself back up and getting back on that horse to be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Because if you don't, you won't ever be able to accomplish it. If you want it that badly, you'll be able to accomplish it. And liking what I do, I love what I do. I love every day when I get to go to work and put on my uniform and put on my epaulets and put on my wings and go through the airport and have that sense of pride that, yeah, I worked hard to get where I am, and I'm happy to be here. And liking how I do it, there's the sense of freedom that I get from flying an airplane. And when you're up there and you're in the clouds and everything just makes sense and your mind is so clear, I love what I do. I love my coworkers. I love being able to land a jet, open up the flight deck door, and have kids come in and say, "Wow, are you really a pilot?" Yeah, I really am. And it's so cool to encourage these kids and say, you can be a pilot too. You can be whatever you want to be as long as you work hard. Work hard, and you're kind, and you're honest. I honestly, I believe that integrity is huge, and it's going to get you so far in life. And, again, just surround yourself with who you want to be, and find a mentor, learn from that mentor, and know that that mentor got to where they are today, and they know what they're doing, and learn from them. And just value their time and take notes. Take notes on what you like, take notes on what you don't like, and deliberate practice. I really appreciate the opportunity that I have been given to be able to talk to you guys and to be able to share my story and share my passion. And I hope that it inspires you and that it will help you in your future endeavors. Thank you.